thinking about... Oh, sorry. Hello. How you doing? No, seriously, fella. I'm thinking about doing little segments, because I got this program I'm supposed to follow, and there's just stuff I want to throw in at random. Stuff that's important to me, doesn't quite fit into the program. I think I'll name it tidbits. And you see, word of mouth tidbits, and all those will be just stray things that really have nothing to do with anything. Have nothing to do with the direction I'm supposed to be going in. You know? And so, you know, things like, one of the things that really bugs me is this division between creationism and evolution. The problem is in people's heads. It's not actually a problem. It's people. It's just like the physics question in the beginning, where they said, this group of scientists said it's particles, and this one said it's light. Then they switched experiments, and they realized each other was right. So they came to the solution of, it's both. It's always both. It's always the third. It's always the third option, you know? It's never one or other. It's never black or white. It's not gray either. It's rainbow. You take black and white and rainbow, all the colors together. You know, we don't live in a gray world. So it's always that third option. You know, for example, the world was created in 7 days. How long is 7 days? How long is a day to God? I got an idea. Take 4.5 billion years divided by 7 days and 6 nights. Right? Hey! Now all of a sudden, it works. Kind of, sort of, right? And the whole evolutionary thing, God is omnipresent. He's making little adjustments as things go along. It's not like he's in a hurry. He's been here for an eternity. He's Alpha and Omega. He's going to be here for another eternity. It's not like he has to get it done in 24 hours. 7 segments of 24 hours. Has to be done like that. You know? Really? You know? It's word that he's giving to basically goat herders 2,000 years ago. They didn't comprehend. They didn't understand. The best they could get was every hair on their head, right? And so I see this. Imagine that, I mean, have you ever taken a garden hose to the top of a hill just to watch where the water goes as it goes down? Just to observe the process. Halfway down, maybe you realize that it would be cooler if it went where there were more bumps. So you kind of give it a little help, redirect the water over a little bit on the hill, and you get it to go down in the area where there's more bumps and a little more activity. It's kind of cooler, kind of a little waterfall. Maybe float a stick down or two just to see where it gets stuck. Kind of fix that spot so it makes it all the way to the bottom. You ever do anything like that? I don't understand why it's impossible for people to comprehend the idea that maybe, in a lot of ways, God is like a little kid. He's going to take the garden hose to the top of the hill. He's going to watch the water flow down. He's going to help out in certain spots. And, you know, like maybe creating a platypus or something interesting, maybe putting a pouch on a marsupial. Just to mess with things, you know, give human beings something to think about. You know, why, I don't understand why it has to be in a hurry, and I don't understand why it can't be both. Why can't there be a program that maybe God wrote in DNA that allows our genetics to adapt to environmental situations? And then just set it in motion and sit back and observe. There's a whole universe of things to do. It's not like you have to just sit here and watch Earth grow, right? You can go away for a while, come back, check on it, fiddle with it, go away, come back, fiddle with it. From an evolutionary standpoint, one of the things that just drives me crazy is, I got a good example for it. There is a praying mantis that mimics a specific flower. It's the only flower it mimics. It's the only flower it eats on. It looks just like it, but it only looks just like it when it arcs its back, when it folds itself in half. It looks just like this flower, right? Just like one of the petals of this flower. At what point was the decision made for that insect to arc its back? Evolutionists, holding to it strictly, say that happenstance over the eons, which is a really lame excuse because now they're blaming the fact they don't actually have an answer for it on time, and that it occurred over a long period of time. It was just genetic mutations and they accumulated. This thing looks exactly like that plant. Like the insect was capable of looking at the plant and saying, I need to adjust this and change this, and I have to fold my back just like this. That seems awfully intelligent to me for an insect who doesn't have a mirror and really doesn't have a clue what it even looks like. But all of these developments are evolutionarily formed through accidents. That doesn't work. It never really has ever really truly worked. You blame the fact you don't actually have an answer on time, and somehow that satisfies the equation. Not for me, it doesn't. There was an intelligent decision made in there to have that insect arc its back in order to hold itself in just the right position in order to mimic that plant. That wasn't a happenstance, because holding its back like that has nothing to do with locomotion or, it was a decision, an intelligent decision. You know, like DNA was running a program, like DNA is smarter than the bug. But in evolution, if you hold strictly to evolution, it's all through happy accidents that happen over time. DNA having an intelligent program, or almost being consciousness in its own right, and evolving through choice. That's not even an option. But an omnipresent God, who just kind of drops by, for the most part, every once in a while, always there in spirit, but not always there on the dot, drops by, maybe messes with something, leaves for a while, comes back and checks on it. And I have no problem with that. I like that idea. But with people, it's so hard for them to come to terms with it's both. The creationist wants to be right. The evolutionist wants to be right. The compromise seems impossible. But it's not because the compromise is impossible. It's because people are impossible. But, it becomes very important to be able to open your mind to concepts that step outside of your normal understanding. But people, they don't want to do that. Their established belief system, they get something out of it. It gives them something. The ego, satisfied by the right to tell other people they're wrong. You know it all. Which, I imagine I suffer from too. I try not to, because I understand it's always the third option. Always the third option. I'm always looking for that. And I understand that it's when you come from that place and you're looking for that third option, it's very difficult to find other people who will agree with you. It's very difficult. You state the third option, and there's automatic rebuttal. No, it's because it's this way. And somebody else pipes up, no, because it's this way. No, you're both right. There's a third option. Oh, no, there can't be none. Wow. It just drives me crazy. A God with patience, who takes his time, that's not an option. The option is a God who has no patience, that thinks a day is 24 hours. a 24-hour day to a God. Do you realize how many days that makes an eternity? I don't. I don't know what an eternity of 24-hour days would look like. Another thing that drives me crazy. In the book, in a book on the Kabbalah, they talk about how when you give yourself to the light of Christ, that you give up your identity. You give up selfishness. You become this selfless kind of zombified. You give your will over to God, and then God's will is all you ever express. That's not true. That is so unfair, unfairly not true. To even project that in a person's mind is just wrong. See, quite literally, I'm going to tell you a story to amplify this. Okay? In the Bible, it says that angels don't have free will. And I think a more appropriate way to say it is angels don't have an identity. It's not that they don't have free will, because obviously the bad guy chose to be a bad guy, and some angels chose to go with him. So they have free will. What they don't have is identity. The will of God is this. It's like the waves of the ocean. It's this massive force. It's just huge, massive force. And angels are like a piece of cork from like a wine bottle floating on the surface of the water. And they can't tell the difference between the wave, the energy of the wave, the water, and themselves. They think that they are the wave. They think they are the water. They think they are the will of God. They actually recognize that they are a unique individual or being. Okay? And if you read the Word of Now in the true story of the destiny, if you read it from the perspective that all of us started out as angels, we were angels. In a way, we are all the fallen. You know, those that were tainted and exposed to the knowledge of good and evil. And when you read it with that perspective, it kind of changes the whole flavor quite quickly. And now, when we were placed here, we were given free will, the right of choice. Okay? And we were removed from the ocean waves when our soul was broken, which I go into in the video, Heal Your Soul. Now, as we are here in this world, we're kind of alone, and that will is not a part of our conscious component. And it is very much like that cork that has been floating in the ocean that has been beached. It's no longer a part of the waves, and for the first time in its existence, it is aware that it is not the wave, it is not the energy, it is not the sand, it is unique and separate in its own right. And that's where we are. Now, if you were God, a God, and the entire universe was your playground, and everything you ever wanted you could manifest in a moment's notice, and it was there, and you wanted to be loved, and the universe loved you. All creations in it love you. Okay? And it's a lot like a beaver. It needs to build a dam. It builds a dam. Certain animals have to dig into the ground and build their little burrow. They're instinctual. They're wired that way. They're created that way. There were beings that were created to love God. But as a God, how would you know whether that being actually loved you, or if it was just them responding to you being God, manifesting love for you when you needed or wanted it? I mean, was it a function, like manifestation, or do they actually love you as a being? Well, the first thing you do is you line them up with some free will, you give them another option, and you kind of get out of the way, right? So, when God finds a being that of their true wish, their own volition, their free will, chooses to love God, that's a rare thing for God. That's neat. That's important. That's valuable to God. This makes you valuable. This is what makes you important. What makes you valuable? Your uniqueness, your individuality, your free will, and in this book on the Kabbalah, he's talking about people receiving the line of God and giving their free will over to God. This is a gift that God gave you that is incredibly valuable, and he wants you to give it back. Personally, I think that's kind of rude. Somebody gives you this incredibly rare and valuable and precious thing, and you're like, no, I don't really want it. All right. And you're literally giving back to God, trying to give back to God the very thing that he gave you to make you special and unique, the ability to choose to love God. Now you just want to go back to being a beaver and building a dam because you were told to, instead of choosing to love God every day with your own free will and prove that it is real love given of your own volition. You defeat the entire process of everything we've gone through on this planet. And it hasn't been a picnic, right? Wars, death. Sucks here sometimes. And it's just, why? Why would you even point people in that direction? All this truth that's in this book written about the Kabbalah, and they throw that in there. That goes so against the nature of the core of your being. To me, it's like in Buddhism, they talk about how they have a cup full of water and you dump it in the swimming pool, and the thing that is you is now everything. To me, that's the same as death. It might as well just obliterate you. You now, the thing that was you, that is unique, that is special, is gone. And that to me, that's just a horrible concept. I always hated that concept. And it doesn't work like that. There is a star out there in the universe, this massive star, that when it went supernova and collapsed in on itself, most of it was carbon. And under the weight of its own gravity, it turned into a diamond. Right? God has a diamond the size of a large planet, a very large planet. People run all over the world, all over the earth. They get riches put together. They think, I'm going to do this for God. I'm going to get this money for God. I'm going to do that for God. There's nothing you can give God on all of this planet that he doesn't got someplace else bigger and better. The only thing you have that you can give God that nobody else can is your uniqueness, your ability to choose to love God rather than be a manifestation of God loving God through you. It is directly from you to God. Imagine for this being what it would be like to have somebody randomly just love you. Not because you needed it, not because you wanted it, not because you manifested it, but because that being chose to, at a random moment, a surprise for a being who has been around for eternity. That might be a pretty rare gift, right? That comes with free will, not mindless oblivion, not mindless observance. You weren't born to be a slave. You weren't born to be this respondent to the will of God. You were designed and created, at least from the perspective in that You have been given the ability to become more than you were created. The ability to change and grow and develop over time, to add to your flavor, to become more unique than your fingerprint or a snowflake. There's the entire perspective, the entire point of your existence at this point is identity, an awareness of self, a sense of self, a sense of uniqueness. That is what gives you your real value, not your mindless obedience. These people may want you to be mindless and obedient to their doctrine, but that is not your purpose. It makes me angry. Fill a book with 99.999% truth and throw in a lie like that. Defeat everything. Tell people something that goes so against the grain of their inner core that they don't look at the rest of the truth. Well, that's perfect. It aggravates me.